Good morning, friends. It is adventure day. I've got my coffee. We're gonna hit the road and check out Madison-Bouckville's Antique Week and see what treasures we can find. Let's go. Our journey takes us west, the road winding through quiet farmland and small towns. It's still summer, but there's a chill in the air, just enough to whisper that fall is on its way. As we roll through Sharon Springs, you can spot the Pink House, the one from episode 7 of HGTV's Who's Afraid of a Cheap Old House. A little roadside celebrity cameo on our trip. At the end of this drive sits our destination, Madison-Bouckville Antique Week. It began in the 1970s and today hosts over 2,000 vendors every August, making it the largest antique event in New York State. While the official hours are 8 to 5, not every booth is an early riser. Things really come alive closer to 9. Admission is free to wander the fields, barns, and tents, but keep in mind that parking now usually runs $5 to $10 depending on where you land. We've been making this pilgrimage for several years, always with a hunt list in mind. Treasures for our home tiki bar, vintage Halloween oddities, and pretty much anything weird, wonderful, or just plain cool. And of course, part of the thrill is stumbling on the thing you didn't even know you were searching for until it's staring you down. It may look like you're in the middle of cornfields, but once you walk through those show fields, it's a time traveler's dream. Mid-century modern next to Victorian, tiki mugs across from tin toys, Art Deco beside rustic farm tools. Whatever your era or obsession, there's likely something waiting to be discovered. We have traveled a couple hours by car and we've made it to central New York for Madison-Bouckville's Antique Week, so let's get started. A ship painting of velvet? A pirate's treasure if ever there was one. I hope it sailed to a good home as we've no cabin space to spare. This hang glider. Looks like someone is doing some aerial recon. That's definitely upping the treasure hunting game. I spy a tiki find. Look at the colors on this bag. I was absolutely enchanted with this rabbit dish. Unfortunately, it was almost $4,000. Fall is my favorite season, and Halloween is my favorite holiday. Even though it's only the middle of August, the colors and coziness of autumn have already staked their claim in these aisles. Secondhand shopping makes the hunt sustainable, and there's no shortage of seasonal treasures to discover. My head on a swivel, and I found some sweet swizzle sticks. Who's that? It's a Trader Vic's Menehune. Now I'm gonna have to call in reinforcements and see what else we can find here. I'm not sure if this booth runs everything at $1 all week or if it's just later in the week. But right here out of the gate, we found an ice bucket. We have plans to make that into a light for the tiki bar. I have non-buyer's remorse about this guy. He was very, very damaged, but for $1 I should have brought him home for a makeover. We've got another find for the tiki bar, a small treasure craft pineapple. Looking at everything really closely so as not to overlook anything. But there's plenty here that could be used for props, for parties, for haunts, trunk or treat, or even just decor. Oh, now this is pretty cool. If you've ever played Zelda, you probably wanted an ocarina. I always check out the records for spooky sounds or Halloween haunted houses, for old Disney records, for Hawaiiana, or even the Martin Denny style Exotica records that are great to play in your tiki bar. There's something about vintage ephemera that just speaks to me. Why wasn't this thrown out, recycled, or burned? But it allows us a snapshot in time to see what styles, colors, fonts, designs, advertisements were popular in the day. Who had these? Who owned these? Who kept these? While I wish this was still the dollar booth, we've moved on from there. This booth just happened to have a wonderful selection of vintage Halloween, and I had to take a look. Alright, it is about 9:45, heading back to the car. Found some treasures at the dollar booth, and an ocarina in its original packaging. Some cool stuff, but we gotta unload and start again. Goofy monkey. Now this isn't what I collect, but I can appreciate and be inspired by a fantastic display. Look at these colors and fonts on these old containers. I look for old pictures that tell a story of adventure, reminiscent of Trader Sam's or Adventureland, the Jungle Cruise, a jungle expedition, an African safari, an old British gentleman's study. These types of old pictures are instant storytellers of a time when there was mystery and wonder. Halloween was haunting the fields this year, and I wasn't mad about it. I have a small collection of vintage die cuts, but I can always add more. I have some serious non-buyer's remorse for this cute cryptid. The jackalope would have looked amazing in the Tiki bar, very adventure-y. Wish I would have made an offer on him. Another sad case of non-buyer's remorse. This desk was fabulous, and I didn't even ask how much they wanted for it. And I should have. We can't rescue all the tikis in the wild, but that won't stop us from looking. There are a lot of different fields with a lot of different vendors and thousands of items. The key is to take your time and pace yourself to not get overwhelmed. Have a hunt list so you can stay focused on what you're looking for, but leave yourself open for those unexpected finds. The cryptid game is strong with this rare sighting of an Everglades antelope, a gatorlope, or is it a swampalope? This booth had only one tiki item. It was the only mug that we purchased that we brought home. Stay to the hall at the end to see what we found. At this point, it was around 4 o'clock. The temperature had hit in the mid-80s. We'd been walking the show for 8 hours, and we were ready to head home and grab some takeout. up on a roadside attraction cameo, the Tiki, a gift shop since the 1950s. Thanks for joining me on the Madison-Bouckville Antiquing adventure. Here are the first few of our finds: the ice bucket that we plan on turning into a light for the tiki bar. We also have a collection of Hawaiian records that came from the dollar booth. Here is the next batch of our finds. You'll see that small treasure craft pineapple that I picked up at the dollar booth, as well as the shell lays. The small piece of Hawaiian/tiki luggage with the great graphics on it. That was our first find of the day, and we spent $10 there. The swizzle sticks were $1 each from 2 different booths. The Trader Vic's and Rec Bar came from one booth, and the Brass Monkey was from a separate booth. And here is the Tiki mug reveal. This is a vintage Kahiki mug. The Kahiki was a tiki bar in Ohio. Based on the research I've done so far, this mug seems to date from the 1960s. From Hoffman Ceramics. Here are the non-tiki finds. This lovely woven basket with a tag stating it was hand woven in Botswana. I found that in the dollar booth. I love it as a decor piece. 2 Disney records, The Rescuers and The Wizard of Oz, Disney and that they're Disneyland Productions. Those were both from the dollar booth. This bright mystery roll is a roll of acetate film. I picked it up for some craft projects. That came from the dollar booth. Awesome little blow mold vintage pumpkin that came from a separate booth. The ocarina in its original packaging from the dollar booth, and 2 Thunderbird swizzle sticks were $1 each from a different booth. Our last finds of the show, I also didn't film. These were something we picked up at the end of the day after we were dusty and tired. But they're these 3 vintage crates. They're very sturdy. We got the 3 as a bundle for $35. They already have a lot of great patina and weathering on them. Yes, they cost roughly the same as they would at Michael's, but they're already aged and beat. Something that would become quite the project if I had to do it with a new product. We happened to go out garage sailing the day after we were at Madison-Bouckville and found a few more treasures, so I thought I would just tack them onto this video. A couple of ornaments, the Pirates of the Caribbean and Superman, some awesome brass critters. I love brass critters. They'll go in my collection. A great shell plant hanger, some vintage Hawaii coasters, a little onyx vase, some little plastic drink critters, and we have a shadow box, which will be great for tiki menus, matchbooks, swizzles, to be determined, and some tropical foliage, which is very expensive in the stores, so it's always great to find this in the wild. Thanks again for visiting. Hope to see you back soon.